Hi guys! You're back here with me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, and we are going to talk about something really cool. Witchcraft. Family mail for the Taxidermy Witch. Now, you guys know I love to read interesting books, even if it's just a snippet, yeah? So, one book that I talked about, and I think that it came up when we were talking about the Thoth Crowley Tarot, which is the tarot deck that I've bonded with the most, but I'm trying to learn more about it with y'all, and that's that black and white series I do called Decoding Crowley's Thoth Tarot. When we were reading about that, something came up, and I believe that it came up in one of those videos, but I'm not quite sure because I've done just so many. One of my best girlfriends, Tess, just recently, she also sent me, I'll do a different video on it, or I'll pop it into another one. She sent me Stanley Kubrick's vinyl of Clockwork Orange, and inside it's got so many cool pictures. You know what? How quick could I run to my bedroom? How quick? How quick can I run from studio to studio? And will you stick around? Let's see! Tess, you're the coolest woman in the world, honestly. Like, this lady, we bonded so quickly over so many things, and I'm so thankful. So, let's check out what we've got here. And, so the number one reason I made the video, I guess we'll save that for a moment, but look at what we've got, is impeccable shape, no scratches. It's played so well. When I played it, it was like I was living in the movie. And let me just show you. Oh, so much occult symbolism in here. Eye of Horus, how he has the one eye all done up, but the other eye not. Alright? And that's when a lot of times you see them doing this in Hollywood and such, with the big high priestess, and y'all know who I'm talking about if you know about that. The eyeball on the arm has to do with something else, which I forget, but there's a big decoding video. But what and the triangle, of course, here we are. Big, atome, however you pronounce it. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when they're at the milk bar, y'all. Now, in satanic witchcraft, breast milk is a humongous, and you've heard of like spirit cooking that they do. Spirit cooking, it's a humongous part of satanic witchcraft, especially in Hollywood, okay? And now, that is not something that I adore, but it's something that I adore learning about, because it's so off-putting in the end result, right? So, anyway, in the beginning of Clockwork Orange, when they go and they're drinking from the tit in the milk bar. There's not a picture of from the tit in the milk bar, but there are some very graphic pictures in here, which is interesting. He's beautiful. I'm so glad he was the main. Again, the eye. And on the back, he's there again with the breast milk. Now, what I want to say about breast milk in normal witchcraft, normal witchcraft, like the witchcraft that I do or that I participate in. Now, for instance, if you do not have menstrual blood, and that is a big part of my craft, is my menstrual blood, my moon blood, my heritage, my DNA, all the ancestry that's ever been a part of me is in there. I definitely use that in workings. I use it in offerings. I feed it to my mandrake root. I feed it to my other plants. I bond with nature that way. That's how I connect. And when I meditate, and especially when I meditate when I'm on my cycle, I can connect with the earth in a different way than I've ever understood possible. Okay? I've done 95 minutes of videos on menstrual blood, so please check all of those out if you're interested. It's a big topic that nobody wants to talk about except me and a few other people. I love what Yoni Grace had to say about it. I love what, quite a few YouTubers had to say about it. There's a great website called The Sacred Womb, I believe, and it talks about the powers of ingesting menstrual blood, both on a personal level and a partner level. Okay, and men that had gray hair all of a sudden have their black hair back again, and it brings back their youth and all this crazy stuff. So don't think that your bodily fluids, just like are shown here in this Eyes Wide Shut type of version, alright? And that's Kubrick all over, right? Eyes Wide Shut. And then right before it came out, Eyes Wide Shut, he died. Not funny. Kubrick is an artist that I adore on so many levels. I adore that he screamed his opinion in The Shining. I adore that he screamed, "I'm sorry," in all the symbolism of The Shining. The Shining was a great movie if you look at it on the aspect of it's Stephen King's The Shining, and that's fantastic, and it's a really good movie, but they didn't, you can't pull The Shining into one movie. You could pull The Shining into a series. If you've not read The Shining, for Christ's sakes, get it now. Read it. It's such a good read. If you're over 15 years old, I'd say. But Kubrick took that movie and watched the documentary called Room 237, okay? It's on, I think it's on Amazon Prime for free. It was at one point. It might be on Hulu, and it might be on YouTube. Or you might have to pay $2 to own it. You know what, you guys? It's worth it because you can understand symbolism in movies, which makes you also understand how symbolism can work in witchcraft, okay? And in herbal alchemy and in hoodoo. So, when we understand witchcraft in cinema, remember that the people that are doing this shit, they're doing witchcraft too, okay? The whole world is doing it around you. All the smartest people. You, me, them, we're all the smartest people. And if you don't believe that, that's alright. But I strongly fucking do. And I'm really glad to make a part of my channel about interesting controversy, yeah? And that's the reason I actually brought up this video before I ran to get this. Tess, you're so fucking lovely, you're so fucking gracious. Anybody that sends donations to the channel of either craft items that you were going to send to the charity shop, send them to Taxidermy Witch, pay the $10 shipping. I'm so appreciative of anybody that sends things to the channel as donations because I'm so happy to be doing this for you. This is my life work. This is what my spirit guides tell me to do every single day. They say, Jennifer, you have a pile of mangoes on the table? Make that video. Because you've got it in your books, girl. So for me, this is this is my life's work. And I'm so blessed to be here with you. So I want to talk about another book that's really controversial. Now, the show 13 Reasons Why? Let's sit and think about while I smoke about how that movie is so harsh. Or not the movie, the series is so harsh if you've seen it. Especially the end of season 1 and the top of season 2. It's so harsh if you've been through any sexual abuse or what's the word, rape, and I want to talk about how that relates to what Tess sent me and why I asked for it. Okay, think about 13 Reasons Why and how it makes you feel and why you think that was created. Why would they put that on Netflix and make it such a big thing for young people? That topic of a suicide, a child suicide. Now, This book is one that I was talking about in one of my videos, and Tess, of course, replied back, "Girl, you got it. You lighten my life, Tess, that you're able to contribute to the channel." And I will be reading random quotes from this book. So this book, I don't know how to pronounce the top word. I pronounce it Gautier. And it's The Sufferings of Young Werther. And I have to tell you that if you want an audiobook on this, it is available in YouTube. The whole entire book. So if you're on a long journey, or if you're a bus rider or something like that and you watch me on the bus, please read this book, but only if you think that you can. Now, it's kind of like the first time that I saw The Ring. That's a huge long story. It's more of a story time thing because it's a big deal, but that movie stayed with me. It did not leave. You know, 2001, 2000 was the time that movie came out. And the first movie was fucking chilling. And it took place in Seattle, and I was in Seattle, all nuts. This book, let's see when it was published. I think that it was early 1900s. And it says copyright 1970, but that must be like I think it was made before 1970, but it says copyright 1970. Harry Steinhauer, University of California, Santa Barbara. The Sufferings of Young Werther. Now, this book was kind of like 13 Reasons Why in its day. I don't think it was the 70s. I think it was like more like the 30s or 40s, but I'm not positive on that. You could look it up, absolutely, certainly, and let me know if you do look it up, please. When people read this book, it made them so fucking sad that there were mass amounts of suicides because of this book. So, I learned from my brother, my middle brother, who I love so much. I can't even express. I'm so sad to go to Texas, but I know that he'll visit me there because he's one of those that has money and can, like, fly around and all that. So, anyway, when I first was a child and he showed me bookshops in Seattle, he said, "Here we drink espresso," you know, in the early 90s. And I'm like 14 years old and I'm like learning about big city bookshops and stuff. And he goes, "Here we drink espresso and we just pick random books and we open and we just read passages and that's what we do." And I was like, oh. Like, that is what my heart talks about all the time. Like, that's so me. So I learned from him, like, just picking out, like, just calling the spirit, saying, "Please bring me to the passage I need here right now," and opening it. Looking down, it says, I'm just going to read a passage from this book. And we're on page 67, which actually has some pen marking from the person who owned it, which I think is really weird because we just flipped to it, but we're just going to read it. November 21st. She does not see, she does not feel that she is preparing a poison that will destroy both me and her. And voluptuously I drain the cup which she hands me for my destruction. What good are the kind looks she often gives me? Often? No, not often. But at least sometimes. The favor with which she receives some involuntary expression of my feelings, the compassion for my suffering, which is marked on her brow. Yesterday, when I went away, she gave me her hand and said, "Dear, oh dear Werther! Dear Werther!" It was the first time she called me dear, and it pierced me to the marrow. The marrow of the bone. I love it. I have repeated it to myself 100 times, and last night I was about to retire and was chatting away with myself. Suddenly I said, "Good night, dear Werther," and then I had to laugh at myself. November 22nd. I cannot pray. Let her be mine, and yet she often seems to be not mine. I cannot pray. Give her to me, for she belongs to another. I mock my own suffering as if I were there to let myself go. The result would be a whole literary anathesis. November 24th. She feels what I suffer. Today she gave me a look that penetrated deep into my heart. I found her alone. I said nothing. She looked at me, and I no longer saw her face, the lovely beauty, no longer the radiance of her excellent mind. All that vanished before my eyes. A far more glorious look from her eyes affected me, filled with the expression of the most tender sympathy, the sweetest compassion. Why could I not throw myself at her feet? Why could I not take her in my arms and reply to her with 1,000 kisses? She took refuge at the piano, and in a sweet, low voice accompanied her playing with harmonious sounds. Never have I seen her lips so charming. It was as if they opened thirsting to drink those sweet tones that flowed from the instrument, as if only a mysterious echo reverbed from her pursed lips. Oh, if only I could express this to you in words. I could resist no longer. I bent forward and swore, I will never dare to imprint a kiss upon you, your lips on which the heartily spirits hover, and yet I will. Ha! You see, this stands like a barrier before my soul, this bliss and then destruction, in an atonement for this sin. Sin? And again, there's like some pen mark right here, so I think that it's really interesting that I just popped to that when I asked Spirit. I could see how this book could really get to someone. And when I told Alex that I had received this book and why I wanted it, he was like, don't read it. I'm like, baby, if I start to feel uneasy, I'll stop reading it. But anyway, that's me, Jen the Taxidermy Witch, talking about, like, my baby Tess, my baby girl, who it's snowing all around her in Chicago, and when I think of my meditations, I think of being with her in the snow playing. I'm going to do a great video on snowberries, snow water that was sent from Tess in Chicago on that first snow. Thank you, darling. I love you so much. And I look forward to sending you those citrine points that I blessed in that last full moon eclipse. They're fantastic. Alright, bye guys. Love you. Jen the Taxidermy Witch.